Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexalex here. Got another Pokemon Pocket video for you. This time coming at you with a deck that I've cooked up myself for Gengar EX. I've pulled 3 copies of this card now, so I figured I might as well try it out. So for our lineup in our deck, we're going up against Mewtwo for this first game. We're playing 2 Ghastly, 2 Haunter, 2 Gengar EX, 2 Farfetch'd, 1 Mewtwo EX, 2 Pokeball, 2 Potion, 2 X-Speed, 2 Professor's Research, 2 Sabrina, 1 Giovanni. So the idea here is, of course, we are trying to get into the Gengar EX as quickly as possible. Gengar EX has a ton of really cool things about it. It's got 170 HP, which is very high. It's got a very unique ability that says your opponent cannot use supporter cards, period, which is pretty insane. And it can also deal 100 damage for 3 Psychic Energy, which is not bad at all. So we're leading off with the Farfetch'd here. Farfetch'd is going to be one of our main Pokemon that we use to not really stall so much while we set up Gengar, but mostly just get in damage. It's very much a more aggressive deck because the nice thing about Ghastly and Haunter is that they can both attack for 1 energy, so even if you're still trying to set up the Gengar, it's not hard to get in with them, right? It's also why we play Giovanni in this deck. Well, I mean, we play Giovanni in a lot of decks, but here my opponent Sabrina'd out the Ghastly. I think definitely way too early here. I'm definitely just going to go ahead and use the X speed to let it retreat. And swap the Farfetch'd back in. We've actually, one of the things I really like about Farfetch'd is how aggressive you can get with it. It's only got 60 HP, but it can deal 40 for 1 colorless energy, which is quite a good rate. Like, look at this opponent's Mewtwo. It's already, like, more than halfway down, and it's only just now getting to attack with its Psychic Sphere, right? So we also play a Mewtwo of our own. So the idea behind that is that, well, I only own 1 Mewtwo. Believe me, once I get the second one, the Mewtwo guard of our deck will be played here on the channel, but the idea behind playing the one of Mewtwo here is that we have some other kind of long-lasting threat other than Gengar, because there are going to be some games where, due to like Sabrina shenanigans or Pokemon with the ability to attack stuff on the bench, you're going to lose out on your Ghastlies early, so it's nice to have just a long-term backup plan. The Farfetch'd can deal some pretty decent damage, but like I said, it's got pretty low HP there. Now, the main reason to kind of not play Gengar, I guess, is mostly just that Mewtwo is just the far better Psychic deck. But I guess the kind of other thing going against it a little bit is that there's quite a bit of anti-Mewtwo tech in the meta, mostly in the form of the, what's it called? The Arbok deck, of course. Arbok decks in general, Arbok Weezing and other variants. Alright, we lost our Farfetch'd there to the Ralts. Opponent retreated their Mewtwo because it's only at 30 HP, but now we have the Gengar online, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of my Sabrinas here. It's a great time to use it because it doesn't matter what my opponent chooses to switch out here. If they switch out Mewtwo, great, I can KO it and take 2 points. If they switch out Kirlia, great, I can KO it and they can't set up Gardevoir now. So, yeah, you can see the opponent's really mulling over this choice here. It's not an easy one, but they ultimately send out the Kirlia. Like I said, the Gengar ability, the Shadowy Spellbind, it's so good. For one, it makes Sabrina a non-threat because they can't do it, so Gengar is locked in. They have to address with the Gengar, but they have to deal with it, right? But also there are a lot of decks that you need their specialized supporter to really get their strategy in. Misty does come down early a lot of the time, so it's not often useful against that, but Blaine decks are much more hard-pressed to actually try to KO this thing without using their Blaine. Weezing decks can't Koga to easily add it back to hand and retreat/full heal it. Erica decks can't heal in the late game, so there's a lot of advantage to having the Gengar's ability. Professor's Research, they can't use that if they top deck and try to get more stuff. Now they can still use items, so Pokeball, X-Speed, Potion, Red Card, that kind of a thing. And here they're going to concede as I Sabrina in their Mewtwo for the win. Farfetch'd featured as the key card in this game, I guess, because it technically dealt the most damage, but the Gengar EX was definitely what locked it in there. So, yeah, it's a really cool deck. I've had a lot of fun playing it, so wanted to share the list with you all. I mean, there's a number of ways you could build this, though. I don't think at all this is necessarily the... I'm not going to claim it's the most optimal way to play the deck. I think it's the most optimal way to play the deck based on my collection. I did also consider Jinx as a Psychic type, attacker, which you could play like 2 Jinx instead of Mewtwo Giovanni if you wanted to. I would probably not take Farfetch'd out for Jinx though, because Jinx is a strong attacker, but it also takes 2 energy to do its attack, so... Alright, now here, I'm kind of forced to lead with the Mewtwo, because I didn't open a Ghastly, but I do have Haunter and Gengar, but... Oh, no, I only have to lead with one of the best Pokemon in the game right now, darn. So, Mewtwo coming down here. Opponent's leading with Pidgey, but it's actually going to end up being on an Arbok deck, which I was about to say is going to be apparent as I send out an Ekans here. So rather than pair it with Weezing like we tried, our opponent's looking to use Arbok alongside Pidgeot, which is actually not a bad idea at all, because the Pidgeot can, you know, it's basically a Sabrina once per turn, right? It lets you force your opponent to swap between bench and active. So you can lock in something that your opponent's trying to build up, then Arbok to corner and force it into play. They won't be able to retreat it. I might actually try this variant out on the channel at some point. Definitely let me know if you want to see it, but... we did find a Ghastly. Our hand got red carded, which is actually kind of fine, because our hand before wasn't the best, but... Yeah, again, little choice here but to build up this Mewtwo. Opponent's going to evolve both their Pokemon on the bench and start building up this Arbok. It's definitely a little bit scary. Finding another Farfetch'd here is not ideal. I'm just going to keep building up this Mewtwo, because again, I don't have any other choice, right? Mewtwo's retreat cost is 2, so even if I wanted to put the Farfetch'd in, I'd still have to have 2 energy. And at that rate, I mean, I don't think I've ever once while playing this game ever retreated for more than 1. I just think that's generally a really, really bad deal. There are only... I mean, to be fair, an EX is kind of one of those situations where I think I might retreat for more than 1 just so they don't take 2 points and they, you know, don't, like, win on the spot. Okay, here's the first drive off from the Pidgeot here. So, yeah, I'm just going to switch in a Farfetch'd here. I'm really not... I mean, this is actually a pretty fine situation. Except now the problem, of course, is that once I KO the Pidgey, the Arbok's going to come in and KO the Farfetch'd. So what I'm going to do here is actually build up the Mewtwo a little more. I want to try and one-shot this Arbok with the side drive, and now I'm in a position to do it. Now this Mewtwo has 3 energy. So now next turn I can put energy on the Farfetch'd, KO the Pidgey, then bring in Arbok, Arbok KOs Farfetch'd, then I can put in Mewtwo, and then on the next turn put a 4th energy on side drive, one-shot it. Is the idea, but let's see if that's actually how it pans out. Evolving the Pidgey to Pidgeotto is fine here. We can still one-shot it. The potion is actually also fine, because we can still one-shot it with the Giovanni that's in our hand right now. So, let's see. I should be putting the Psychic Energy on the Farfetch'd here. Yeah, I'm debating here if I really want to use the Giovanni, if this is a good time to. I think this is probably about as good a time as any. So, yep, there's the energy on the Farfetch'd. Here is the Giovanni. Oh, love that full art. It's a very good one. I pulled a 4 at Brock today, too. I don't really have plans to play it at the moment. But I did also pull a Golem today, so... If nothing else, that is, you know, on the table. I do have, like, at least one other deck. I have my next deck lined up in mind right now. And it's of a type that we have not played yet. So definitely look forward to that. Alright. Another Arbok coming down from the bench. That's pretty brutal. So that means that our Mewtwo... I mean, that kind of means we lose no matter what here, unfortunately. Because we can Mewtwo... We can switch in Mewtwo, side drive their Arbok, but then they bring in their Arbok. They corner, deal 80. We go to our next turn, put an energy on, deal 50. And then on their next turn, they corner and KO us. That is, of course, one of the things that makes Arbok so good in this meta. For one, Arbok's corner attack is, in general, pretty solid. But two, one of the reasons it's so good in this meta is that Mewtwo is one of the most played decks right now. And Mewtwo, in this literal exact situation, just kind of gets wrecked by an Arbok. And again, because of the corner ability, it's not like I can even retreat, you know, swap out, even if I wanted to. Well, I would definitely want to here. Very much so. The opponent is actually going to Pidgeot, though, but it's not... The thing is, it's not really going to do too much here. Like... Yeah, I put in the Ghastly because I haven't seen a Haunter all game. Because they can KO the Ghastly. I'm going to put in the Farfetch, but then I'm still in a spot where I can't KO the Arbok, and then I'm just going to get one shot by it too. So yeah, I ultimately decided to put the Mewtwo back in, because I'm like, okay, at least with this thing, you know. Well, I guess also if I had Potion. If I find a Potion, I think we're still good. I think. So maybe that's what I was playing into here. That had to have been what I was playing into. Gonna Pokeball for our last Ghastly, put that into play. Put a Psychic on Mewtwo, and then... Oh, do I bring in the Pidgeot here? I'm thinking... I should, yeah. Because if I bring in the Pidgeot, then... It can swing in for 70. I mean, it doesn't really matter, because it can just swap in. It's only got a retreat cost of 1. No, in that regard, I shouldn't have done that. I definitely shouldn't have done that. I should have just Psychic Sphered the Arbok. It would have cornered. And then if we top deck exactly Potion, we're good. But they're going to Potion up their Pidgeot, actually. And... Yeah, it actually... Oh, yeah, that's right, because they can just drive off and then swing in for lethal. That was another reason why that was a misplay. Wow, that was a huge misplay on my part. I didn't even get to see what my top deck was. Yeah, no, that was bad on my part. So, but you know, I'm definitely fine showing a defeat due to my own misplay. That is 100% okay with me, because as always, I mean, do this on the Master Duel, the main channel too. We can learn through my mistakes here. Yeah, I should have kept the Mewtwo and Psychic Sphere. They would have cornered, and then I would have had next turn a top deck Potion. Well, wait, didn't also I have 3 energy on it? Well, they use Drive Off. I don't know. Anyway, I definitely threw there. But for our last game, we're going to be up against Charizard EX. Gonna go second. Love to see it. It's funny that there's now a TCG in my life where I actively want to go second. Pretty textbook opening hand here. I mean, what we like to see. We have the Ghastly, we have the Mewtwo, we have a Haunter in our hand, so... All we need to do is find this Gengar, and we have our main game plan online here. But even if we don't, as mentioned before, we do have the Mewtwo in the bench. So, opponent's got a Moltres and I almost said Chimchar, a Charmander. So, it's pretty obvious what they're up to here. Very nice full art Moltres on that side. Got a Pokeball, find another Ghastly. We can establish that on the bench as well. Gonna put a Psychic Energy on the Ghastly, and then I'll attack with the Suffocating Gas. Yeah, I definitely don't mind using the energy on the Ghastly right now, but until I see a Gengar, I think after this I'm gonna start putting Psychic Energies on the Mewtwo and build that up. I really like having the one of Mewtwo. I think even if I owned 2, it might still just be right to play 1 of, and then 2 of another basic, if not Farfetch'd, maybe Jinx again or something similar. Just to have that other option for a big attacker if you need it. Maybe you do actually play 2 Mewtwo, but I also just... Oh, that's 3 Tails. We love to see that. That's brutal from the opponent. Farfetch here is not bad. Gonna evolve my active Ghastly into a Haunter. And yeah, I'm gonna start building up the Mewtwo here. Well, I was going to say, like, maybe I would play a second Mewtwo if I owned it, but then I kind of fear at that point. It's kind of like, why are we just playing Mewtwo Gardevoir, you know? I wanted to ideally make it as much of a Gengar deck as possible, you know? And keep most of the focus on Gengar. Very nice immersive Charizard from the opponent there. Inferno Dance coming in. Yet again, let's see how many coins they've land heads on this time. I think this is another 3 for 3 whiff, if I recall. Look at that, it is. Oh, we love it. But that's brutal for the opponent. Their Charizard only has 1 fire energy on it. That's so sad. I'm just going to go for a Will-O-Wisp here. And next turn, if they leave their Moltres in... I can Mewtwo Psychic Sphere plus Giovanni to KO it, which would be very nice. But I think they do swap it. No, they do Inferno Dance again. But, oh, but you know what? I think they land some heads here, which is going to kind of throw that plan. Okay, they landed 1 heads. That's actually all they needed, though. So, now here's the thing, right? if I were to execute that plan from before, where I swap in Mewtwo and Sphere plus Giovanni, I can KO the Moltres now, but then the Charizard EX just gets a Crimson Storm and KO. So what I'm going to do here is actually I'm going to Sabrina in the Charizard. Then I'm going to put an energy on Mewtwo. Then I'm going to attack Charizard with Will-O-Wisp. So now, ideally, my opponent will just KO the Haunter with the Charizard. Then I can bring in Mewtwo and one-shot it with Side Drive. I was honestly... Okay, so actually what they end up doing is Sabrinaing. That's still 100... That's actually even better for me, because now I get to keep the Haunter and the energy on it. And I just lose a chump Ghastly instead. Like, this is not even remotely a problem. Yeah, I was more afraid of my opponent swapping out the Charizard. Although, to be fair, in that case, then they still can't really do damage with the Moltres. And also, Inferno Dance doesn't do a lot for them at that point. It really just wasn't that great of a spot for them to be in here. But, yeah, now we can just use Side Drive. Take out the rest of this Charizard all in one fell swoop. I guess, again, it was technically a two-shot with the Farfetch'd, or the Haunter Will-O-Wisp there. And they're going to concede right on the spot because they don't really have anything else set up with the Moltres, but little do they know I would just win next turn with Giovanni anyway. So there we go. It's a nice example, I think, of the Gengar deck at play there. I'm still going to fine-tune this list, and I'm totally open to suggestions on it, as always, there in the comments below. So I think that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. This is Hexalex. I'm going to be signing out here. Oh, and of course, if you are looking for more Pokemon Pocket or Lestral's gameplay, definitely be sure to subscribe, as I put up videos just about every day here now. So, but yeah, without further ado, this is Hexalex. I am now going to be signing out, but not before wishing you all a fantastic day.